When you're thinking about stepping up your weekend pizza game, the first question that pops into most people's heads is, will I actually use a professional-grade oven? Or will it just sit there collecting dust? I get that hesitation a lot, especially when you're looking at something that looks more like a mini restaurant piece than a countertop appliance. If you've ever tried to pull off a restaurant-style crust in a home kitchen, you know the difference between a blistered edge and a soggy bottom can feel like night and day. That's why I wanted to break down the Baker's Pride GP62HP before you decide whether to spend a chunk of change on it. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, this isn't a hobbyist novelty. The GP62HP is a 120,000 BTU, two-compartment gas oven that sits on a sturdy countertop or prep table. It's built for people who either run a small catering operation out of their garage, a food truck, or home chefs who entertain regularly and want that authentic brick oven feel. If you're the type who rolls out a fresh dough, toss it on a stone, and expect a 7-minute bake that mimics a Naples-style pie, this oven actually gives you the heat intensity to make that happen. On the flip side, if you only order pizza once a month or you live in a studio apartment with limited ventilation, the size and gas requirements could become more of a headache than a benefit. Installation is the first practical hurdle. The GP62HP runs on natural gas, which means you'll need a proper gas line and a venting system that can handle the exhaust. In the real world, I've seen buyers who tried to hook it up to a portable propane tank and ended up with uneven flame distribution or, worse, safety warnings from local inspectors. If you already have a gas line under your countertop and a hood that can vent the heat, the setup is relatively straightforward. Just follow the manual and have a qualified technician make the final connections. For a typical home kitchen without existing gas infrastructure, the cost and effort of adding a line can quickly add a few $100s to the overall project. That's an upfront trade-off you have to weigh against the cooking performance you'll gain. Once it's up and running, the real magic is in the two compartments. The lower chamber is essentially a high-heat baking box, while the upper one can be used as a warming rack or a quick reheat zone. In practice, this means you can bake a margarita in the bottom compartment, pull it out, and slide a slice of leftover garlic bread into the top while the next pizza is rising. The heat recovery between the two sections is fast because the gas burner keeps the entire unit at a steady 700°F+. I've watched a few small business owners use that dual zone capability to keep a line moving during lunch rushes without having to open the door and lose temperature, something you just can't do with a standard electric countertop oven. What about the crust? That's where the 120,000 BTU rating really shows up. In a home setting, most ovens top out around 500°F, which forces you to stretch the bake time and compromises that signature leopard spot char. With the Baker's Pride, you can get that rapid, high-heat blast that creates a leopard spot pattern in under 5 minutes, assuming you preheat the stone correctly. The stone itself is a heavy-duty, insulated brick that holds heat well, so you're not constantly waiting for the oven to climb back up after opening the door. The only catch is that the stone can be quite heavy, around 30 lb, so moving it for cleaning or repositioning can be a bit of a workout if you're on your own. Speaking of cleaning, the GP62HP is designed for commercial use, which means the interior surfaces are coated to resist grease buildup. In day-to-day use, you'll still need to scrape off any cheese or sauce splatter after each bake, but you won't have to wrestle with stubborn burnt-on residue the way you might with a cheaper electric model. The removable drip trays are a nice practical touch. They slide out, making it easier to collect excess oil and keep the work area tidy. However, the oven doesn't have a self-cleaning cycle, so you'll still need to schedule a deeper clean every few weeks if you're pushing out multiple pies per day. Now let's talk about who actually benefits from this piece of equipment. If you're a catering business that sells pizza at events, or a food truck owner who needs to crank out a steady flow of pies without compromising on quality, the GP62HP pays for itself in speed and consistency. The ability to bake several pizzas simultaneously thanks to the two compartments and the large baking surface means you can keep up with demand while maintaining that wood-fire feel without the smoke. For home enthusiasts, the oven shines when you host pizza parties, birthday gatherings, or even a weekly pizza night, where you want each guest to experience a different style, thin crust, deep dish, Neapolitan, without waiting for the